Hello everybody and welcome back to the best reactions. Oh, you meme lovers are back, and so am I, to reflect on an Austrian Grand Prix where some people thought it was absolutely terrible, some people thought it was alright, and some people thought it was great. I was kind of more on the sort of great side. Where do you land on the Austrian Grand Prix? Well, it doesn't really matter, because we're here for reactions, we're here for memes, and let's get into them. P10 FVB 2309 comes in with Kimi Antonelli, Be Like. I like it's simple, it's an effective GIF, and Kimi Antonelli is going to want to forget the Austrian Grand Prix off the back of Canada, where we were just like, yes, he's here. The pace was amazing in comparison to Russell. I guess the one, is it a saving grace, or just generally, not to be too disappointed, despite obviously taking out Max Verstappen, is the fact that they had no chance of winning or even being on the podium. The Merc were nowhere yesterday, so I guess that's a tiny little bit of, consolation. P9, the Michael Gray, Red Bull, and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Horrendous day for Max Verstappen. Now, the one thing that I found really interesting about Max Verstappen's demeanour after the crash. Obviously, initially, his team radio, he was expletive, he was angry, of course he was. But we then go to the post-race interviews, and the car that Red Bull have created for Max Verstappen this year has created a Verstappen that is graceful. He is empathetic. He is a gracious king when it comes to the post-race interviews, because he was chill. He was absolutely chill about it, despite having a disastrous day. You kind of, I know Tommy is absolutely closing the book on any chances of Max winning the championship this year. It's not mathematically impossible, but it makes it a hell of a lot harder. P8 Elite Merchant, Matt, when Charles finishes on the podium on his birthday. Not Charles' birthday, my birthday was yesterday. Thank you all for the love and support on the watch-alongs yesterday. Was that me? I think this would have been more me had the two McLarens, or had the Oscar lockup at turn 4 actually caused both McLarens to have a problem similar to what happened last year with Max and Lando, and caused Charles to win. Then this would have been, well, obviously I would have been on the top step of the podium for Charles. But still, a decent podium, considering the Ferrari was kind of nowhere. 20 seconds off, I guess, although the McLarens were fighting a lot. I'm trying to find positives. He got some silverware. Right, one thing away from the top 10, and this was kind of interesting. I don't know how much anyone knew of this, but a recovery vehicle coming in from Lyobarev. A recovery vehicle kind of broke one of the Qatar Airways banners over the track. And as you can see by that picture, yes, it absolutely destroyed it. Of course, this was not during a Formula 1 session, but that's not what you need. We do not need some Mario Kart barriers on the Austria track, but thankfully they sorted it. I don't actually know if they managed to repair it. I assume not. They'd have to just get rid of that, surely. But either way, a recovery vehicle causing chaos. It's not the first time. We've seen things like Baku, haven't we, where I think a recovery vehicle did knock it or drove into something as well. It's not the first or last time that we will see this. Okay, I don't do this very often, but please subscribe and like the video right now, if you are enjoying the series. Just give us a little reminder. Be like, hey, we love this. I love this. This is really fun. Subscribe and like. Lots of love. Bye-bye. But carry on with the next segment. P7, Alex Humphrey 33, Lando winning even with the Mac curse. And he breaks free for maybe one race weekend. Let's find out. 11th time lucky for me in terms of Lando and a race win prediction. I'm glad it came in. It was very close to not coming in. Oscar could have absolutely won the Austrian Grand Prix, but Lando managed it, and he did very well indeed, despite the fact he had the looming curse over him. So yes, well done, Lando. I've seen people already following up saying, Matt, don't get cocky, don't start predicting him every week now, thinking the curse is done. We'll have to wait and see. P6, Lars KW, there was nothing to lose. We should stay out. Tyres are fine. Ferrari. I felt like the comms, did they have some kind of breaking in the communication, not just purely from sort of their back and forth, but did they even hear Hamilton? Because they just straight up ignored him, didn't they? They ignored Lewis Hamilton, who has done many a strategic call. I can understand that they were only going up against Charles Leclerc and there was no chance of winning the race, even if Hamilton stayed out. There was zero possibility of that. I am interested to see that Hamilton still obeyed that call despite, just saying, no, I don't want to. And to be honest, if he was in Mercedes, I think he probably would have just carried on. But perhaps because it's a new relationship, he doesn't want to take too many risks at this stage. Honourable mentions. Smithy Boy 3000. All habits die hard. I know. Carlos Sainz and fires in Austria. Just doesn't work out for him, does it, Sainz? The whole Williams career just hasn't really clicked yet. We've had small glimmers of there's the Carlos Sainz. But overall, yeah, it's been quite disappointing. I guess despite the fact that Williams have looked incredibly competitive at times, top of the midfield occasionally, it's not been that sort of breakthrough Williams start that I think a lot of us thought would happen for Carlos. But look, we're only halfway through the season. It can easily turn around, but my goodness gracious me, Austria was a disaster. Goldie Stick! Oscar in the cool-down room. I know, poor Oscar was just on his own for a significant amount of time. I was like, this is not the cool-down room I have signed up for. Where are the other drivers? Where's the banter? Where's the swearing that just gets blocked out? And where's the immediate cut-off when it's just about to get good? And that is what happened. They started back and forth, and they just always cut away. Like, what are we doing? Why do we cut away at the best part? I get they have to do the setting of the podium shot before they come out, but nobody cares about that. I do not think you can find one person that would like to see just random shots of the crowd coming around the podium overhearing the drivers debrief from the race. Please. Dan Duke it out. Kimi after taking Max out of the race. I think that's what he probably felt at the time. I'm sure Kimi, of course, losing control of the car, hits a car and goes, oh no, that is an absolute disaster, and then just looks up and sees it's a Red Bull. He full well knows that is not Yuki Tsunoda, because Tsunoda started in 18th. So I'm sure there was a huge amount of dread that came over him. But Max was not this robot at all. He was a kind, graceful king. And he spared Kimi Antonelli. However, if he does it again, maybe not so. Especially, I think, if Max wasn't fighting in around 5th, 6th, 7th place, there's a different reaction, in my opinion. But look, he's humble at the moment because that Red Bull is not great. Hannah F1_27, F1 fan seeing the Austrian GP timing tower. What the hell is a rookie in a Sauber doing in RP5-ton, Texas? That's what the meme says. I'm just reading what the meme says, but I know what you're trying to do, Hannah, so well done. That's why you're in the honourable mentions. And Gabriel Bortoleto. Wow, wow, wow. First and foremost, can the broadcast stop calling him Gabriel? As far as I'm aware, it's Gabriel Bortoleto. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. But he did a phenomenal job. Absolutely brilliant, did Gabriel this time round. So, Sauber, they're getting some serious momentum before they stick an Audi badge on. Of course, car's changing massively next year. But Bortoleto, he's getting up to speed pretty quick. Sell_Stone, literally Carlos right now. I'm going to be depressed. I mean, what a fall from being in a Ferrari, winning the occasional race, to now being at Williams, where the car, in the last, since Spain, it's been a disaster class for Williams. We were questioning whether, Albon or Sainz might be able to sneak a cheeky podium at some point with how quick they were looking at the start of the year. And they need to just hit the reset button. James Vowles, my goat. Can we just calm the ship a little bit? Another meme from Elite Merchant. George running his own race in a different dimension in the midfield. I enjoyed this one because that is exactly how I imagine George was, because he was just literally on his own. I think he had to pass maybe a couple of cars that were not the ones at the front, but the ones in the sort of midfield, because the way the pit stops worked. But George had probably one of the most boring races of all time. Joe Formula 6P, Brad Pitt seeing Sainz not starting the formation lap. Now, this was brilliant, wasn't it? Not the fact that Sainz didn't start the formation lap, but how, if you've seen the Formula 1 movie, you know the exact scene that we thought was completely ridiculous was potentially coming to life. So I won't say any more than that, because I know some people say, spoilers, Matt. Oh my God, I was going to see the movie tomorrow. What the hell are you doing? Oh my God, you've ruined the movie because you've said one scene from a movie that's 2.5 hours long. But if you've seen it, you know exactly what I mean. Delboy JH, Zach Brown and Andrea Stella looking at Oscar and Lando battle for their lives. I think that's not just Zach Brown, that was pretty much the entire world watching when they were getting very close indeed. But I can only respect Zach Brown and McLaren and Andrea Stella for allowing them to race. I think that's the beauty of the fact of being so far clear in the Constructors' Championship and also now in the Drivers, that at least they can let the drivers just do battle. This is very much not just this season in terms of who wins the championship, but could well be the deciding factor moving forward into future years of who is the number one and number two. Will they still remain number ones when one of them wins the Drivers' World Championship? I don't know. You get slightly more power when it comes to contract negotiations after that. It's controversial opinion time. Tom Bellingham is on the line, and what he has brought to me today is McLaren team battle is dull, especially without Max in the mix. That comes in from Just William 41. All right, Tommy. Usually I give you the mantle, if that's the phrase, but I'm going to chime in here first.
Go for it.
What an absolute disgrace this controversial opinion is. What do you mean it's dull? Yes. All right. Okay. I will admit we have been struggling to have some wheel-to-wheel battles, right? And I see some people claiming there's not as much aura with people like Max and perhaps Hamilton in the mix and things like that. But I don't think you can say that off the back of Austria. I don't think you can. I agree that, with Canada, there was clearly one side to blame with Lando and he apologised, and some people want the drama and we didn't get it. But for this one, I thought it was a brilliant battle. It was fair, it was clean, it was so close to ending in tears, as we saw with Oscar's lock-up into turn 4. But to say it was dull off the back of Austria, I think is very unfair.
I think it is as well. I do agree with some people saying that maybe there's not as much aura as a Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton championship fight, but of course not. That was one of the greatest and most crazy championship fights that comes around once in a generation. And I think you just need to be less negative on this situation. And of course, we went into this new season, didn't we, thinking, there's going to be loads of teams challenging. It's anyone's game after what we saw at the end of 2024. And don't get me wrong, it's annoying that one team has dominated. But I think you need to kind of add a bit of positivity and make you think the grass isn't always greener on the other side. If you think of all the teams that could have dominated this season, I think you need to thank the Lord that it's McLaren because they have two number one drivers. And had Red Bull dominated, Max is winning every race and he's got no teammate to challenge him. George Russell is against a rookie teammate. Even Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, at the moment, Hamilton's not quite there with Leclerc. I think Leclerc's beating him 10-1 in the races. So, of all the teams to dominate, thank goodness it's McLaren because they're incredibly close. It's only 15 points separating them.
You're trying to say that a Leclerc-dominated championship is not good for
Exactly,
F1?
Not good at all.
That's absolutely...
Thank goodness it's McLaren if it's going to be anyone dominating.
I highly disagree. Do you think we're feeling the effects of perhaps people watching seasons like 2021 and then
expecting it to be all the time?
Their expectations skewed of what Formula One actually is on a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, very. You kind of can't have it all. So I think is the main thing. Of course, we'd all love to see a 2021. We'd have loved to go into this season and keep it exactly the same as last season, where Ferrari can win, Mercedes can win, McLaren can win, Red Bull can win. But unfortunately, that's not happened. But I think you just need to look at the positives.
Well, actually, technically, Tommy, George Russell has won a race, Max has won a race, Hamilton's won a sprint, and of course McLaren are winning. So
what about Charles Leclerc?
Tick it all off. Well, thanks for coming on, Tommy. I was going to thank you for coming on, but now I don't want you to come on ever again. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
P5, F1 madness _ the toxic relation continues. Yet Lewis, he does not want to pit. Ferrari, see, nobody cares. That we've touched upon it. I think this was a great way of depicting what's going on with Hamilton at the moment. Do you think that the relationship's going to improve? For me, we're halfway through the season. I thought there would have been some seriously constructive sessions between Hamilton and the team to help improve this communication, but not seen any of it so far. Right, another moment away from the top 10. This one, I mean, it's been spoken about quite a bit on social media, but if you haven't seen it, I have to include it. It is, of course, Oscar Piastri, after he nearly got thrown into the wall by Franco Colapinto, saying that Alpine still managed to find a way to F me over all these years later. Wow, wow, wow. It's not even as if he's crafted this in a way that's slightly read between the lines. No, there's anger there. There's clearly things that we know nothing about when it comes to the negotiations and discussions that Piastri and Alpine have had. And, I mean, first in the Constructors' Championship, and Alpine are 10th, and Oscar Piastri still just a little dig. Just enjoying it, ever so slightly. P4, the Michael Gray, 70 straight laps. It wasn't quite 70 straight laps. We were hoping it might have been that. And for some Formula One fans, that is the only way they would have going to even be slightly entertained, is by having 70 laps of DRS and side-by-side action. P3, the first person on the podium is breaking points. Red Bull is currently a backmarker team without Max. That is just wild to think about, isn't it? That if you had Lawson in Max's seat, or pretty much anybody, that Red Bull are a backmarker team. That is absolutely wild. Of course, they are a one-driver team in the sense of all the resources going into Max and making Max as fast as possible. But if Max DNFs, Red Bull may as well just go home. P2, Cobe Deo. Congrats, Matt. You can't defeat me. Tommy's good surprise pick. Now, this is different. I hadn't thought about this. That Tommy, of course, going for good surprise, Lando Norris, has allowed my curse to be defeated? Maybe? How are we giving Tommy? How are we giving Tommy the W here? Surely, just let me have this one. But I also see your logic. Before we get into P1, I wanted to share my final moment away from the top 10, and it has to be Max Verstappen's interview, where he spoke about red carpet events. And he said, I don't like to be on the red carpet and dress up in a suit. I don't like to interact with people that I don't really know and have a fake smile and fake chat. It's horrible. I just don't enjoy it. I've never related more to a phrase in my life than this. Max, I completely get it. He does not enjoy these events where you just have, oh, hi, hey, Jim. Oh, good to see you, Jim. When was the last time I saw? Oh, I've never met you before. Oh, no. It's that thing, isn't it? Like, have I met this person before? Do I say good to meet you? Do I say hi, how are you? It's a bit more safe. Those kind of things Max doesn't enjoy. I completely get it. And that can come across, obviously, as some people not enjoying the way that Max goes about his way. But he is a very successful Formula One driver, and he is doing his life the way he enjoys. So, can we really be too harsh on him? The winner of the best reaction for the Austrian Grand Prix is Harlow James _. This did make me chuckle quite a bit. No problem. We all make mistakes, mate. Like, that is just the best meme template. Oh, goodness gracious. Would it have been any different if George had taken him out? I don't think he would have been like so, oh yeah, he's a rookie, because of course George isn't a rookie. So Max has taken some sympathy there. But this was a brilliant meme template. So well done, Harlow. You win the best reactions. Right, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Austrian Grand Prix best reactions. Next up is next weekend, the British Grand Prix. Myself and Tommy are going to be there. We're going to be on the main stage on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. So come and see us if you would like to see us do our thing. You know, just we're going to be on the stage chatting about qualifying and having a bit of fun, giving away prizes, all sorts of stuff. So we'd love to see you there. Hopefully it doesn't rain. And yeah, look forward to driver ratings and everything else coming out in between. And we will see you very soon. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.